Clickbait is something that surrounds us in almost every aspect of life, from real-life billboards to photos on social media. Even this video you're watching has a clickbait thumbnail for it. Specifically for this video, I made it intentionally clickbaity. I wanted to show you an example of clickbait on the YouTube with this thumbnail right here. Well, even if there's a lot of clickbait in our lives, the most common one we encounter every single day is food clickbait. And it's become very popular. To demonstrate this more vividly, we're heading off to the stores. In the stores, we chose products from various categories, from different sweets to cat food. The most important thing, you guys, is never to throw around items that can get crushed during the transportation process, and so we'll be careful stacking them. Otherwise, they will get very easily dented and definitely won't look the same as they do in the picture. After buying all the interesting stuff in the stores, we loaded the purchases into the car and headed to another store. As you can understand, the assortment in stores varies a little bit. By the way, another thing that sped up the process was that Artem and I were not alone. We also had some help from the other guys. While we walked down certain aisles, they walked down different ones. Time was crucial for us because some products, just like pizzas that needed to be heated up, could easily lose their appealing look. And so, however, despite all of that, we only finished by the evening. In total, we bought around 200 different products. Pizzas, burgers, cottage cheese and cream cheese, instant noodles, pastries, teas, and so much more, like a lot more. And now let's take some photos of these chocolate bars and compare them to what's depicted on this packaging right here. So we took some pictures of all the chocolate bars, and now we can compare them to the packaging. Nestle Forest Nut Chocolate, it doesn't look anything like what was drawn on the packaging at all. It was very difficult to find nuts in the actual chocolate bar, although occasionally something similar would come up. But even on this piece right here, there's clearly not as much chocolate as depicted in the picture. But as for the taste, it's quite average. Ritter Sport Chocolate. Overall, the filling is similar to what's shown on the package. However, there's much less jelly than there's depicted on the package. But in terms of taste, the chocolate bar is quite good. Ritter Sport Rum, Raisin, and Nut Chocolate. The chocolate completely matches the photo on the cover. Dove Milk Chocolate with Fig. There are fig pieces, but not on all of the sections. You still need to make an effort to find them. But the taste is also quite pleasant. But after all, it's chocolate. I don't think the chocolate can taste bad. Milka Caramel Chocolate Bar. The caramel is clearly not as bright yellow, but not as much of it, and it doesn't look as appetizing as it does in the picture. But nevertheless, it's very, very delicious. By taking photos of all of the chocolate bars, we can conclude that the majority of them do correspond to what's shown on the packaging that they have, all of them. However, there are still some shortcomings. Now let's move on to the next food category, which is, this time, I will not go into detail about each individual item to take separate photos and describe all of its characteristics. So let's just compare it to what is actually shown on the packaging right here. And here we see a wrap with lots of meat and vegetables and so on. But what's inside of it? Well, there still seems to be a small discrepancy. I would even say, probably a significant one. That's what I would probably say. But still, it's worth noting that when you go to KFC, their banners state that the image is for creative purposes only and does not represent what exactly is inside of the packaging. So there's already some clickbait there, but they do inform us about it, and albeit in small print somewhere that is really hard to find. But it is there. Now let's compare these burgers to what is shown in the pictures. The Whopper. In the picture, it appears voluminous, it's large, and it also has a lot of filling. But the real Whopper is heavily crushed, and the filling doesn't stick out like it was depicted. Also in the picture, you can see layers upon layers as if there's a really lot of filling. But here, to find the filling, we need to at least remove the top part of it. As you can see, there is definitely a difference. Therefore, it's clickbait. Egg burger. In the picture, we see a neat burger with a lot of fillings, and it is not very flat. Here we also see a lot of filling, but, well, it's like It's really messy. And especially if you look at it from the top. Of course, you could say that it's clickbait as well, but still it's actually big, it's voluminous, and there's really a lot of filling in it. And the other two burgers somewhat resemble what is depicted on the picture. Well, at least they look relatively presentable. Although if you open the top bun, well, it's not that great. If we nitpick, then the difference is still significant. Next, let's check out the bites. Or should I say, click bites. Bites in that picture, and bites in real life. Maybe you didn't understand, so let's say this again. The bites on that picture, and bites in real life. Well, perhaps it's just a coincidence? Maybe the small bites we have, they match them? What the hell? You guys, honestly, has anyone ever eaten these small bites from here?
No.
Seriously?
No one has eaten them.
Here I can fit all of the bites that they have here on my palm, right here. Honestly, I buy bites quite often, and this is the first time I've seen something like this. Small bites are in the picture, and these are small bites in real life. This is definitely clickbait. Again, let's remember that KFC informs everyone that the image is just a creative work of theirs. But let's be objective here. Who actually reads that? Personally, I only read it when we started filming this video. And even then, we stumbled upon it completely by accident. But despite the clickbait, I doubt that I'll stop going to KFC because I really enjoy eating there. But I hope that the KFC owners will watch this video and put a few more bites just for me. I'm counting on you guys. In Burger King, we also bought these cheese medallions. Let's take a look at them. And look at the picture. So I got 5 more medallions here, and they all just look like this. One of them turned out to be even empty. But, well, things happen. Okay, so let's finish with the fast food. Let's move on to the analogs. These are semi-prepared burgers, just like this. Initially, they are sold frozen, and then they needed to be heated up. We open up the package, heat them up in the oven, and they're done. The burger in the picture and in real life are quite similar, but only on one side. And overall, compared to the illustration, it's somewhat kind of squished. Essentially, it's clickbait. Now, let's take a look at the pizzas. The pizza needs to be heated up for 10 minutes in the oven at 220 degrees Celsius. In general, it looks like there wasn't a clickbait here at all. And now we move on to the next pizza. As I noticed here, everything on the packaging looks much brighter and more beautiful, and there are also more tomatoes and cheese, so there's a small clickbait. And now we have the last pizza. I don't even know if it's worth heating it up, because I can see that there's definitely a lot of stuff right here. Next, let's look at the ice cream. Today we bought 3 different types: cake-shaped, cup-shaped, and popsicles. Let's start off with the nuts. There are a lot of them here and here. Well, they're there overall. Of course, not as many as shown in the picture, I mean, but they're there, right? I think I can count them all on my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 26. Something tells me that there are a few more right here. All right, so let's move on to the next one. We cut it open, and we see this picture. I don't even know what to say here, but it doesn't look like that for this in the picture. There's a lot of chocolate visible on the edges, but on the edges here, well, not that much. Now let's take the cup-shaped ice cream. It's shown that there's a lot of condensed milk when you take a bite. So let's see if that is really true. I took a bite roughly the same size as shown in the picture here, and there's no condensed milk at all. I don't know, maybe I need to take another bite? Well, this is the small smudge is condensed milk? I'm no expert, but I think that there are definitely some slight discrepancies. Even in the cross-section of the ice cream here, there's not that much condensed milk. And what conclusion can we come to? It's obvious clickbait. There's not as much condensed milk here, not even roughly. Once again, you guys, I want to clarify that when I criticize the fact that the appearance of the product doesn't match the picture, it doesn't mean that I'm bashing the product. Everything that was in this video is definitely very delicious. I'm just showing how manufacturers make clickbait. They embellish the picture like almost everyone and everything in this life. Clickbait has simply invaded our lives. It's impossible to trust simple pictures at all anymore. We need to check out everything, open everything, cut everything to see all of the insides. In this world, in the 21st century, there are too many discrepancies. Too much advertising and too much clickbait. I don't even really know if there's any point in continuing this video because what I wanted to prove, I've already essentially proven. Well, I'll now demonstrate the remaining products to you through these photos right here, and without any comments. And with that, this video has come to an end. Everyone can draw their own conclusions, but I highly doubt that anything will really change. Manufacturers are unlikely to make the images on the packaging more truthful because, well, why would they? And consumers are unlikely to pay much attention to it, just like you and me, because I couldn't care less about how these products look. The most important thing is that they taste damn good. Well, that is it for today. Good luck to everyone and goodbye to all.